We began this morning by recognizing outstanding achievement in journalism that had a positive impact on a community. The American Legion Fourth Estate Award is difficult to earn. It is a testament to the demanding nature of the competition and the quality of entries. Not only do the reports have to be informative and entertaining, they also have to provide a tangible benefit for society. Now the sad news. The winner of our broadcast award is KHON TV in Honolulu. The award-winning journalist expressed her excitement about the honor as soon as she learned of the selection. Flying in from Hawaii, she contacted our staff last night from the Denver airport. Her flight had already been delayed 3 times. She is unable to be here and said, quote, "I am heartbroken. Please convey my regrets to everyone," unquote. We're still going to acknowledge her great work in the 9-part series, The Forgotten. Past Fourth Estate Award winner Pamela Young highlighted the significant contributions made by Chinese Americans and Asian Americans, veterans during World War II. It culminated in the awarding of congressional gold medals to hundreds of World War II veterans and surviving family members at a Washington gala. Please turn your attention to the video monitors.
In this time when so many Asian Americans are the targets of harassment and violence, they wanted to send a message that it is unjust that these men and women who defended our country against our enemies must now defend themselves against fellow Americans.
That fateful day set off a series of events affecting every family in the islands. It would determine the future of thousands of young men and women long after the last signature was inked on the Articles of Surrender on the USS Missouri. It molded character and empowered local Asian American Pacific Islanders to discover their collective voice. Each overcame negative preconceptions to shine in their service to our country, inspiring the military leaders of today.
More than the color of your skin, it's what you're able to accomplish. It has afforded me many opportunities in the U.S. military and in particular the United States Army.
The achievements of our Hawaii veterans continue to inspire future generations.
The message is, we stepped up and we stand ready to serve our country in any available capacity. Give us a task, we'll do it. Give us a voice, because we've got a lot to say.
I'm an American. All the time I was in service, I was very proud to be a member of the Army Air Corps.
The military has opportunities in all areas that you can further your career. Do it.
Younger generations need to know the sacrifices that our grandparents, great-grandparents did for us so that we have this freedom. It's really, really important that they left a legacy and that their kids know the history of what has happened in the past.
Ladies and gentlemen, though she can't be with us, let's give her another round of applause to reporter Pamela Young. We will see that she still receives her award. The Fourth Estate Online Award goes to the Associated Press reporters Kristen M. Hall, James Laporta, and Justin Pritchard. Investigated firearms and explosives that have gone missing from military inventories since 2010. The series, Awol Weapons, led to congressional reforms and a new accountability system by the United States Army. General Mark Milley called the investigation another example of free press shining a light on the important subjects we need to get right. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome James Laporta and Christine Hall.
The U.S. military has several million firearms at bases worldwide. Rifles and pistols, machine guns, shotguns, grenades and grenade launchers. Keeping track of them all is no easy task, whether it's with handwritten ledgers or modern technology. And yet, an Associated Press investigation has found that, despite those measures, some guns still end up on America's streets, used in shootings and robberies.
I think it's frightening, the idea that on our military base, a weapon could in fact be stolen, and then that weapon could end up on an urban center anywhere in the United States.
Wednesday, one man was killed and another person was injured when the first explosive device detonated.
I can't remember if I heard the explosion while it was flying or what, and I hit the ground. He said he couldn't feel his legs. And I looked back, because it probably blew me probably about 15 foot from him. It dropped him right there. I looked back, and blood was just coming out of his legs.
I knew there was stuff in it. It was stuff that was scraps from the range. It was what was left over from the range that they didn't put in the junk shop for some reason. So I grabbed the ammo can, I threw it in the back of the Humvee.
Whatever, you have all these fun toys and you're gonna bury it and you're out in the woods in Ohio? Hell no. You're gonna throw some smoke grenades, you're gonna blow down some trees or some shit, or blow some stumps. That's what you're gonna do with it. You're not gonna freaking bury it.
Yes, that is exactly what I was gonna do with it.
Have fun with it.
Yes.
Senator, I did see that report in the press, and certainly we take, this situation very, very seriously. We train our soldiers to maintain accountability of their weapons. That is a basic skill and responsibility that we expect from our soldiers. My understanding is that the cases of, weapons from any branch of the services being unaccounted for and getting into the hands of civilians is likely to be a small number, but particularly given these reports, I commit to you that this is something that we will look into and certainly make sure we have situational awareness of that situation in the Army.
Well, this is a public report, and 1,900 firearms is not exactly a small number. This report says that the Army and the Air Force could not answer basic questions about missing weapons. It says also, quote, the Army sought to suppress information on missing weapons and gave misleading numbers that contradict internal memos. Will you report back to us about that claim?
Senator, I'd be happy to look into how we've handled this issue.
Do you know whether it's true?
I do not, Senator. I do not know what our past practice going back years has been on this matter.
I have some firsthand experience in this area. That's me, James Laporta. I was a Marine sergeant and infantryman for 8 years on active duty with 2 deployments to Afghanistan. First thing to know, the military stores its guns in armories and arms rooms. These fortified facilities are surrounded by fences topped with razor wire and have reinforced doors and alarm systems. Inside, in racks, cages, and cabinets, sit hundreds of firearms. This is also where the high-tech military meets low-tech record-keeping. In the Marines, for example, each unit member gets paper rifle cards signed by their commander. Each card identifies the type of weapon and accessories that they are allowed to check out, such as rifle scopes. The armory custodian takes the card, hands over the weapon, and in some units, the handoff is logged in a ledger or receipt. Service members get the rifle cards back when they return the gun after the weapon is cleaned. The military also uses other, more modern techniques, such as barcodes that are scanned each time a weapon is handed out. When an armory opens and closes, there's a visual count of each weapon. A monthly inventory is taken to match serial numbers on each item with a list of what is supposed to be there. It is a cardinal sin to lose a weapon. If one vanishes, an entire base can be shut down while there's a hunt for the gun. Investigative records obtained by the AP show troops sleeping on the job, unsecured buildings, inventories not completed, and missing or destroyed records. In some cases, the armory custodian is part of a conspiracy to steal guns. The Pentagon says it has excellent accountability of weapons and takes any losses very seriously because they represent a national security concern. But officials cannot say how many guns have vanished. In some cases, the military doesn't know that one of its weapons is gone until days, months, or even years later.
Hi, my name is Kristen Hall. I'm a reporter with the Associated Press. This is my colleague, James Laporta. I want to tell you a little bit about our series, Awol Weapons. This started with an idea I had about 10 years ago when I was a military reporter for the AP covering Fort Campbell. And I noticed that there were cases of soldiers taking weapons off post and getting caught with them. And so it just sparked this idea of how many times does this happen? And how are they getting away with it? These are supposed to be very secure weapons, locked up really tight. And you know, what we found in our investigation was that a lot of times these guns go missing and they're not recorded, they're not logged, they'll go missing in transit. We found one gun, a military Beretta, that was used in 4 different shootings in Albany, New York. And the Army never knew that it was even missing from Fort Bragg. So I think our investigation took years because we had so much trouble getting information out of the Army and the other services. They stonewalled us and refused to give us information. And so we basically had to kind of create a database of these weapons and incidents. Some of the things that we found, you know, these lost weapons of war were ending up in people's backyards. They were ending up, you know, these grenades were ending up, you know, alongside train tracks. You know, children were even finding some of these weapons. We know there was one example of a man who was injured and another man who was killed when a military explosive went off at a scrapyard. So this is, you know, really important information that we were able to discover, and once we put our story out, the reaction was immediate. Congress, as you can see, talked to the highest ranking military officials, and now there is a law that requires the DoD to report weapons losses to Congress, and the Army created a whole new accountability system for their weapons. And I just want to say this could not have been completed without the help of our editors, Justin Pritchard, Ron Nixon, my colleague Justin Myers, and Jason Deering, and Jeannie Ohm. And I'm going to introduce you to James Laporta.
Hi, good morning. I'm going to talk about the role of journalism. It really is an honor to be here and to receive this prestigious award from the American Legion. I used to have this quote that I would keep at the bottom of my email that I always thought of journalism as an extension of my military service. And the quote was that journalism is just as vital to the survival of democracy than the armies that guard its borders. You know, if journalism gives, you know, a voice to the voiceless, it exposes injustices and holds leaders accountable. That's what good journalism does. And the practitioners of journalism, imagine a world without the practitioners of journalism. Imagine a world without Ernie Pyle. We wouldn't have that iconic photograph at Mount Suribachi. Or imagine a world without a Joe Galloway. You know, the first major engagement between American soldiers and soldiers from North Vietnam would not have been covered. My friend Kathy Gannon just retired from the Associated Press after 35 years of covering Afghanistan. She covered Afghanistan so long that, like, she covered me as a Marine when I was there in 2009. So I really just appreciate the American Legion in honoring outstanding journalism out there. Like I said, like Kristen said, this project would not have been completed without our editors and the entire platoon of reporters that came together at the Associated Press. On a personal note, I'm a combat infantry Marine. I've lost 23 friends in combat, probably another 9 to suicide. So anything post 2009 that happens to me that is good, I do it in their memory. So thank you.
Membership recruitment never stops. We just got a brand new member to the American Legion. The Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, which in recent years have won 3 previous Fourth Estate Awards, is being recognized in the print category for its piece, Military Suicide Takes Toll on Wisconsin National Guard. Journalists Caitlyn Farrell and Natalie Brophy the cases of 4 Wisconsin veterans who took their own lives just months after they served in Afghanistan together. Wisconsin Senator Tammy Baldwin pressed Guard leaders for more transparency and data on suicides. Let's take a look at this award-winning work.
The primary disability that I live with is not from the rape. It is from 4 years of unmitigated, unchecked, brutal command retaliation. My life before this, I climbed the highest mountain in the Western Hemisphere. I hiked across the Sierra Nevada alone. I kayaked Lake Superior solo for a week. I danced. And I got to be on all these amazing television series. Now, I maybe can leave my house 3 times a week for appointments. If I do more than that, the thoughts of suicide and the pain become unbearable.
Accepting the award is Caitlyn Farrell.
Hi, good morning. On behalf of myself and my reporting partner, Natalie Brophy, thank you so much for the recognition of this important work. I just want to thank all the editors at the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel that continues to allow us and me to do really important investigative work that takes a lot of time, especially my editor, Sam Rowe. And I especially want to thank the families that were so selfless and wonderful in sharing the stories of their sons. So the video that you saw was actually not particularly related to this piece of journalism I did, but a different series I had done on the National Guard. This series cataloged the lives and stories of 4 quite young Wisconsin Army National Guard men, James, Eric, Evan, and Logan. They all were deployed to Afghanistan together. They all came home together, and they all unfortunately took their lives within 6 to 8 months of each other. And so it was a privilege and also really difficult to tell their stories, but I just want to thank their families, because I and the rest of my fellow reporters can't do journalism unless people are willing to share and talk and spend time with us, and often that can be really difficult for those families. So thank you again so much for your support and recognition, and my intention in working on stories like this and writing this piece is that it can really help change the awful statistics we know about suicide in the military, and also highlight the important contributions of the National Guard, which I think they've served a huge and important role, especially during the pandemic, and I think often is somewhat misunderstood by the general public. So thank you so much again.